All right, thank you so much. We are joined here today by my colleague Amanda, who is our wonderful communications manager and also a resident of Corning and a former employee of the Corning Museum. So a wonderful resource who will be helping with the behind the scenes this morning. So thank you, Amanda, for being here on a Saturday. And let's go ahead and get started. My name is Jennifer Hand, she, her. I am the conference manager for the Glass Art Society, and welcome to the 2026 GAS Corning Proposal Information Session. Going to go ahead and run through some slides, and then we will take some time to answer questions at the end. We'll have plenty of time for Q&A. Okay, before we get started, if you are new to the Google Meet, the buttons down at the bottom of the screen, just want to give you a quick orientation. Button number 1 here, that is to mute and unmute your microphone. Button number 2 is to turn on or off your screen. 3 is for closed captions, if you'd like to turn those on, if those are helpful for you. Number 4 is the raise hand feature. Feel free to stop me at any time if you have a question. You can just go ahead and use that raise hand feature. Again, we will have an extended Q&A portion at the end, so if you feel it's not exactly relevant to what we're discussing at the moment, you can hold it till the end. But if it relates to what we're talking about on the screen, feel free to pause and ask me a question. That's totally fine. And then number 5 is the chat. You're welcome to put questions in the chat. Both Amanda and I will be keeping an eye on that, or if you have resources to share. We are a collaborative community. Feel free to throw those in there. For the duration of the meeting, please do keep yourself muted unless you are asking a question. Camera on or off is completely up to you. That is your prerogative. All right, here we go. So first things first, important dates. July 13th is when proposals are due. Submittable can be a little bit wonky sometimes, but keep that in mind, July 13th as the due date. We do close proposals at midnight that evening. But we are technically headquartered in Seattle, so that will be Pacific Standard Time. That means for those of us on the East Coast or elsewhere, you have a few extra hours. July 13th, get your proposals in by then. September 2025 is when we hope to have notifications of acceptance out. They may come earlier. Do keep in mind they do come in waves. Sometimes it is to make sure that we are curating the most representative and impactful conference program. We may send out a first round of acceptances and then kind of weigh where we are when we get confirmations before sending out the next wave of acceptances. So if you have not heard back from us, that's good news. That means you're still under consideration. And then if you haven't heard from us by the middle of September, feel free to reach out anytime. We can absolutely give you an update, but we will make sure to have all presenters notified one way or the other before the end of September. And then June 3 through 6, the conference dates. Huzzah, 1 in June, very exciting. In addition to that, of course, there's always pre-conference and sometimes even post-conference activities. So if you want to be able to participate in things like day trips, make sure to block out a few more days in your calendar. So first things first, when you are writing your presentation proposal, after you put in your name and email, the first thing we're going to ask you is, what kind of thing are you proposing? Okay. So let's go through the different types of presentations that happen at a GAS conference. What we are most iconic for is the demonstrations. Those are 90 minutes. A demonstration can be a hot shop demo, a cold shop demo, or anything in the flame or neon shops. And it can also potentially be a print or mixed media demo. What we are looking for is, in a demo, is a process that is demonstrated from start to finish. Now, you can have pre-made parts in advance. That's not, we're not saying that you can't like pre-sculpt, 1,000 little glass flowers to add to a piece as part of the final demo. But we want to see something where you're demonstrating the entire process kind of start to finish. Because if you have a process that requires a little bit more of start and stop, it might actually be a LECMO. So for example, kiln work, mold making, some types of gluing applications. That is what we call a LECMO, which is, again, 90 minutes, but it's a combination of a demonstration and a lecture where you have slides. You may have cooking show style pre-made parts where, like Julia Child, you'll put the unbaked turkey into the oven and then pull the fully crisped one out of a second oven. You have the ability to kind of jump ahead in the timeline during a LECMO. So the only restriction on LECMOs, they can be in all sorts of different media, but do not propose a LECMO if you need hot shop space, okay? If you are doing a LECMO, that means we just don't apportion hot shop space for LECMO presentations because that's just not what it's meant for. So that is kind of an important distinction. There is a possibility of cold LECMOs, depending on if you're not bending the neon, if you're doing if you're talking about pattern printing and stuff like that, or even like bombarding, that might be a LECMO. But whatever it is, if it is in the hot shop, please submit that as a hot demo and not as a LECMO. Now lectures are 60 minutes. In our lectures, LECMOs, and panels, all three of those, we always have the capability for you to have a slideshow if you want one. You don't have to have a visual presentation as part of your lecture, LECMO, or panel. But we do have the capabilities for that if you need it. And generally speaking, we provide a microphone for you if you're worried about being able to project. This former theater kid doesn't have that issue, but some people feel more comfortable talking on a mic. And if that is you, not to worry, we've got you covered. Now, other performance, workshop, and roundtable discussion. Some of these will be a type of presentation, like an official conference program. Others of these might actually fit into what we call midday programming. Go ahead and submit it as a presentation. And if we think that it is something that needs official conference support, we will put it onto the official program, and that means you'll get all the compensation that an official presenter gets. However, you have another chance. If you are doing something, especially a workshop or a roundtable discussion, we do have midday programming, which is not does not include an honorarium, does not include free conference passes and stuff. But if you just want the platform to talk about an important issue to you, we have kind of interactive programming blocks every day from 12 to 2 when official programming kind of takes a pause for people to catch their breath. And that is a separate process with just kind of a Google form application later in the season. So keep your eyes open for that. It is a really good opportunity for some people to be able to get their discussion in front of a lot of eyes at the conference. So again, demo, straight up, you're doing a thing in real space with your hands. LECMO, you're doing a thing that has a little bit of a lecture component to it. Lecture, straight up lecture. Panel is a lecture style format with a moderator plus 3 panelists. So you're bringing in multiple voices and perspectives to discuss the same type of conversation. So for example, we've had people discussing glass as a therapeutic medium for people with PTSD. We've had people discussing strategies for success for emerging artists. So you'll have a moderator and then multiple voices to be able to have different perspectives on the same topic. Okay, moving forward. So compensation, this is really important so that you can manage your expectations from the beginning. For demonstrations, we do provide a $500 honorarium per demonstration. It is paid after the conference. You do get a free conference pass for the primary presenter. If you are doing a hot glass demonstration, you get 1 free conference pass for your hot glass assistant, unless you're doing a collaborative demo. So you already kind of we're already giving you 2 passes for if you're doing a collaborative demo with 2 people as the presenter for that program. We do provide for all official conference program folks additional discounted passes for your guests. This is intended for close friends, family, the kind of support folks who you might need on hand to really get through what is an exciting but obviously sometimes stressful situation of presenting your beloved work in front of a lot of new faces. So the additional discounted conference passes for presenter guests, we do limit those to 2 to 3 per presenter, just to make sure that we are not having that kind of take advantage of, but it's a great little resource for you to have, and we do want you to use it. Travel and accommodations are not covered by GAS, unfortunately. We are working on ways to find funding for that, but at this point in time, it is not a possibility for us. And then this type of presenter, a demonstrating presenter, is encouraged but not required to submit an article for the GAS journal. For lectures and LECMOs, these are very similar compensation patterns. You must submit your article for the GAS journal in addition to doing your live program. So for both lecture and LECMO, we do want a write-up telling us about your innovation, your research, whatever it is that was so exciting that you brought it to the conference. It is, again, a $500 honorarium per program. It is paid after the journal article is received. You still do get a free conference pass for presenters. If you're doing a collaborative lecture or LECMO, that's taken on a case-by-case basis, how many free presenter passes you will get. We still do have those additional discounted conference passes for your guests. And again, travel and accommodations not covered. For the panel, once again, we do require an article for the GAS journal in addition to your live program. That there is a $950 honorarium per program received, paid after the journal article is received. We do provide up to 4 free conference passes for a panel, again, with the additional discounted passes for your guests. And again, we do not provide travel and accommodations for this. The article in this case can be either the moderator writing the whole thing or a short piece of writing from each of the moderator and panelists that's kind of edited together for the journal. So performance/other. Honorarium is determined by the program, but it's probably going to be $500 unless it is selected. Sometimes we select a performance for the conference kickoff or final demo. Conference kickoff does have a higher honorarium. Number of free conference passes would be determined by the program that you are proposing, but it's probably not going to be more than 4. Additional discounted passes can be available for co-presenters or guests if you have more than 4 co-presenters. And then again, you are encouraged but not required to submit an article for the GAS journal if you are doing an other or performance type of presentation. So I am pulling the next couple of slides, our presentation venues. There's 2 slides of this. If you don't see other equipment yet, just wait. It's probably on the next slide. So I'm pulling these from the amazing resource that Amanda created, which is the Conference Guidelines Document 2026 that is on the GAS website. So shortly I can, I'm going to actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to glassart.org right now and show you where this lives. So I am just pulling this up. I'm going to share this tab really quick. So if you're on the GAS website, you navigate to Corning, then to conference, then to Corning 2026. Look at all these amazing resources. You have all this info. You have the important dates. You have the link to submit. And then you have the 2026 proposal guidelines document. So you can look over all this information right there. And clearly you've been here because this is how you signed up for the June 26th or June 28th proposal info session. So preaching to the choir, but for anyone watching this on YouTube later, this is a great resource for you. Okay, switching back to here. All right, so it'll be no surprise to anyone who's been around the GLASS community for a while. This is Corning. Corning has everything. We have so much equipment to play with this year, folks. So get wild with it. We're going to have more hot shop equipment and space, both number of discrete spaces and number of seats that can be facing these spaces than in many, many years put together. So it's a very exciting opportunity for people who are looking for a hot demo proposal this year. From my understanding, the Corning studio has also really invested a lot in new flame and neon equipment recently. So there's a lot of really great stuff to play around with in there. And then the cold and engraving shops, mold and wax rooms, and other spaces have a ton of great toys to play with. We're talking milling machines, all of the amazing cold and engraving. I wonder, one of these is a gym lathe. I don't know, but I would hope so because those are my favorite. I fell in love with cold working thanks to a gym lathe at Pilchuck. So, I'm sure that Corning has one, or they should get one before the conference. And then the mold and wax rooms are very well apportioned, great equipment, great, ventilation, and all that good stuff. So lots and lots of possibilities there. Again, all of this is in that guidelines document. So if you want to take a moment to look over it, go ahead and do that on that website. Download it, save it for yourself. Okay, just a quick orientation. Pretty much everything at the conference this year is going to be on the museum campus. And the Corning Museum website has some really great interactive maps that you can click around in and familiarize yourself with the space. But in addition, just want to point out that, let's see if here we go. The Radisson is going to be the official conference hotel. We also are going to have the Hilton Garden Inn, which is going to be a little bit pricier, but that's also going to have some reserved room blocks for us if you want to be like right next to where all the action is happening. And then personally, I've stayed at the Quality Inn before when I was up there for the ARACA research grant, and I had no issues. It was clean, it was lovely, it was close. So highly recommend that as well. This is, depending on your own personal abilities, this is a pretty walkable distance between the Radisson and the Corning Museum, and also we will have shuttles in place. There will also be a lot of hotels kind of further afield that will make up kind of the number of rooms that we'll need to house everyone for the conference. So once we have the links live for hotel room bookings, definitely jump on those quickly. We'll have those up soon. We're just working with the Visitors Bureau to finalize everything and make sure we get everyone the best rates we possibly can, because that is important to us. Yep, some great maps. So feel free to head over to Corning and click around through there. And then, yeah, while you're all here, right? How do you actually submit? How, why, what? Proposals must be submitted via Submittable. Please do not try to send your proposal via email. That being said, if you need a little bit of extra assistance or Submittable is really not playing nicely with you, that's okay. Just give us plenty of time to help you. Send your email with that information in advance, and then one of us on staff will be able to help you get that proposal submitted through Submittable. We do want your proposal to be complete and instructions to be followed in order to be considered. Just pay attention, really close attention to the section headings, and note that the description is above the text box. So like the title, well, I'll show you on the next slide, but just make sure that you're putting the title in the title section, the description in the description section, and not vice versa. We do see that sometimes, and it makes our selection panel's eyes hurt. So don't do that. We do want photos and detailed explanations to help our selection committee understand what unique angle you are bringing to the conference program. Photos of your work that help explain the content of the proposal. We'd also like a headshot or photo of you working. It's just nice to collect in advance. You know, you're manifesting the positivity that you're going to be selected, and we'll need your headshot to advertise your participation. All applications and presentations should be given in English unless otherwise approved. There may be a reason why that might not make sense for you. Just talk about it in your presentation description if that's the case, and we can deliberate on that in the selection panel. If your presentation includes more than one presenter, please identify a primary contact person. It is generally our policy to make sure that all presenters stay CC'd in on all communications. But if GAS is looking for, you know, a waiver that needs to be signed, needs questions answered on presenter needs or anything like that, we like to have a primary contact person that we know we're directing the inquiry to. And please note, you do not need to be a GAS member to present at the conference or to submit a presentation proposal. Should you be a GAS member? Yes, absolutely. Membership has its benefits and we have a long history at GAS of an incredible and active membership base, making the community what it is. But especially if the membership fee is a financial barrier for you, you do not need to invest that to submit a presentation proposal. If you have questions, that's great. We are here to answer your questions. We are here to help support you and help you build the best possible presentation. Just do not wait until the last minute to ask them, please. Many of us on staff are part-time, so give us like several days of lead time before the deadline to be able to get back to you. If you know the deadline is on the 13th, if you email us on the 13th with a question, who knows what else has jumped into our inbox that day, whether or not we'll be able to get back to you. So please give us enough time. Help us help you. Okay, a quick orientation to what our Submittable website will look like. Please note this is the correct application to fill out, unless you're really gung-ho and you are looking to submit a proposal to host the next conference. That is the wrong info session, by the way. We are not here for that today. So it is the 2026 conference proposal application. The first thing, as I said, after you put in your name and all that kind of good info, you're going to have to select the type of presentation you're proposing. If you have something that is a little bit outside of this, just pick the closest one and use the presentation description to fill the gap between what your options are and what it is you're actually trying to do. And then just to reiterate here, hot shop equipment and access is only provided for presenters who select demo, hot glass, or performance hot shop as their program type. That is not to say that there is a complete prohibition on you having something like a fluffy torch or a map gas if you need that for like a wax burnout, or if you need that for some sort of pyrography. We absolutely can get you like discrete items of hot shop equipment to use if you need that for a LECMO or another thing. But if you're looking for like hot shop, glory hole, furnace, all that kind of stuff, not a LECMO thing. That is a demo. All right, title of your proposed presentation. So as I was saying, sometimes when you're in submittable, it's like unclear if this is the for this or the one before it. So the text box is always underneath the description of what you're looking to do. I always say this, I'm a fan of puns. Not everyone feels that way, but just catch the selector's attention when you are giving us your title. Keep it short, keep it punchy. Just catch attention, because especially on a Corning year, the selection panel is going to be looking at hundreds of proposals. So say something that grabs attention from the beginning. Presentation description. So we want a brief but detailed description of your presentation. This is not your artist statement. We want to let the selection panel, as well as in the future the audience, to know what to expect during your program. So if you're doing a demo and a LECMO, you should include like specific techniques. You could even do like an outline of the timeline of the demo. If you're doing a lecture, like let us know what is the research, what is the topic you are covering, just so that you know. If you're doing something like an artist talk, those are not usually something that is a successfully scored proposal. Find a way to tie it in to the community, find a way to tie it into current events, find a way to make it not just about you. We're looking to see how you could have the most fascinating practice in the whole entire world, but the conference is not a space to do like just a standalone artist talk unless it really connects with other aspects of the contemporary craft concerns or just the larger community. So next part here, does your presentation require specialized equipment? Now let's note, we talked about it. If you are doing a lecture, if you are doing a LECMO, a slide projector and a microphone does not count as specialized equipment. We already know, we already got those. If you're doing a demo and your equipment that you need is on that list that we just showed you of things that we know that we have at Corning, that is not specialized equipment. So if everything that you need is already on that document or is part of standard hot shop equipment like jacks, tweezers, blocks, block bucket, all that good stuff, you do not require specialized equipment. We're talking about somebody who wants a bubble machine or like a hang point for their rotating disco ball, something like that, something very out of the blue. And then there'll be a space for you to let us know what it is that you need specifically, if you are looking for us to source it, or if you're able to bring it with you if we don't have that. And then if you would want to withdraw your proposal if it's not something that GAS is going to be able, GAS or Corning are going to be able to procure for you. Hope that makes sense. Again, in the application process, if you're getting to there and you have something that's kind of out there, just email us and ask, and we will help you word appropriately. And then the most important, we are curating when we build the conference program. We are drawing from all over the world. We are drawing from all different types of glass making. So just keep in mind that you want to have a proposal that relates to as much of the glass community as possible. So that is not to say that we don't want to see your unique personality in the proposal. We absolutely do. Sometimes the most personal topics are the most universal because they really resonate with a wide audience. But just keep in mind that we are curating to achieve several aspects and categories of diversity. So that's including diverse methods of working with glass, from glass blowing to stained glass to bead making to pâte de verre, all of the different fascinating ways to work with our favorite material. We're looking for geographical diversity. We want to hear voices around the world. We're looking for diverse ranges and career levels from emerging to established artists. We're looking for diverse representation of race, class, sexuality, gender expression, and ability. And we're looking for that diversity of experience, your particular wonderful glassy voice shining through. Okay. That is the end of my slides. So I am going to throw it open for our Q&A. I'm just going to bop back to the front here so we have a nice little, boop, there we go. So you can feel free to use the hand up action if you like, or just unmute yourself and ask a question if you have one. Sit here and awkwardly sip my coffee for a few minutes. Oh, there we go, Flor. Hello, Flor.
Hi, but you're going to give me 1 minute because I'm just getting off the tram.
Totally fine.
Very geographically diverse in The Hague in the Netherlands at the moment. I had 2 questions for you, which I don't think were that I found in your presentation or in the information. I've not read everything yet. There is a lot. Yeah. One of them is for international proposals, those coming from abroad. Do you have any recommendations on how to deal with immigration, visa, all of that? Because it has become, I think, more tricky. Let's put it that way in the current, because there's been quite a few examples of people with issues at the border. So that is one question. And before, because it's quite chaotic here before, so let me ask the second one as well. I am wondering if for the Flamework demos, there will be an availability of cameras on the torch and screens, because I don't think we had that. Last one I was at was in Detroit, and we didn't have that then. And especially for those working small, it makes it wonder if people should maybe then go maybe for a LECMO so they can show like on-screen images, or if there is the availability to have work shown directly on screen during a demo. So those are my questions.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm going to tackle the second one first, since the first one is such a challenging one to answer. So it is always our goal to be able to have a live feed of a camera on Flameworking, on Neon, on Coldworking. It's really dependent on the conference budget, which is always a moving question with a small nonprofit, because in addition to issues at the border, as I'm sure you understand, US-based and international nonprofit budgets have been really, really tight recently. So it is always our goal. And I do believe that with the equipment and resources available in Corning, we should be able to have that. We certainly did in Texas last year, and we also did in Berlin. I think Detroit was just a little bit too challenging of a venue to make all of that happen. But yeah, that is definitely the goal. So I would like to say probably yes. But until we have an AV contract signed, I cannot say that with 100% certainty. But leaning yes. Now, with the immigration situation, unfortunately, there's no way for us to predict, and there's no way for us to intervene in an immigration situation as a nonprofit with a very, very limited staff. However, we do write entry letters explaining why you would be coming into the United States. We are always happy to work with you to insert whatever specific language that you think would be most helpful to ease your pathway across the border. Whatever we can do to help. That is kind of the limit of our ability. However, for another job that I have been working with a nonprofit that actually is an independent nonprofit that sponsors international artists coming to the US and helps them through a more robust visa process. It's really for people who are coming over to teach at places like Haystack, where I also work. So they have like, they're getting more money. So there's more of like a, need for them to declare what it is that they're doing if they're trying to do it correctly. But yeah, we can write you an entry letter, and we can also, I'm happy to make a connection to that nonprofit that I mentioned. It's just like an NGO that's all they do. They sponsor artists and help with the visa process. That is not free. They're there to help people who are getting paid very well to come to the United States and do, like if somebody's kind of like bopping around from Penland to Oxbow to Pilchuck all summer and is going to be making a lot of money, that's when they might want to invest in that. But it does exist, and I'd be more than happy to make that connection if you would like to pursue that and see what it looks like. And then we can grab some rose quartz and amethyst and just kind of like set an intention that gets you across the border. I don't know. I'm so sorry. Like, can I apologize on behalf of the entire American people for making it so difficult for people to come and do good things here? I'm so sorry. It's so frustrating. And so, GAS is doing everything it can to make sure that we balance and have international conferences and to make sure that it's not as hard every year, multiple years in a row for our international participants. So sorry, that's a very long-winded answer, but you did ask a very challenging question, so I did my best.
I knew it was challenging. I just wanted to get a sense of how you've talked about it within your organization. And I think everybody knows that within this, sorry about the noise, there is no guarantees either way, but you're willing to think with people, you're willing to help people out, but there is a limit to what you can do. So I think that is where we are.
That's the reality. That is the reality. But yeah, I will say a lot of folks, I had a panel come over from India, 4 women coming from India to do a panel, and they almost ended up doing it hybrid because they were so concerned about just that issue. And then they all made it over safely. And from what they said to me, had a wonderful experience. So if people can, that is a long plane ride. That is a lot of risk of hours lost in sitting in an airplane and then an airport to only get turned around by customs. But they made their calculation, they did the thing, and I think that they're really excited and happy that they did. So yeah, there are definitely horror stories out there, and it is real. And there are definitely issues at the border, but thank goodness, none of our presenters and I didn't hear from any people who were attempting to attend the conference who were turned away at the border. And usually I would be the one getting those emails in my inbox. As far as I know, it didn't happen. And we, just so you know, we provide those letters, not just for presenters, we also provide them for attendees if they request them. Yep, anyone who needs it to come to the conference. Yep.
That is good to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Flor. Good to see you. All right, any other questions? Hi, Meta.
I would have a question. Yeah. I was thinking to reapply with the project that I did last year because I had a limited budget, but this year I have the available funds to apply. I wanted to ask regarding the classification of the event. Is it like participatory performance? Does it count as a workshop or as a performance? Because in its like gist, I mean, like it's actually like the performance. So I was thinking of applying it as a performance.
I think that would definitely be the best performance rather than hotshot, because it's the puzzle pieces that people are putting together.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's a water jet cutter on site at Corning. So.
Really?
Really, yes. So it could be that could be your year, Meta. Yeah, absolutely.
So this could be also maybe then a LICMO. maybe. No, I don't know.
Yes.
Or like maybe performance. It's better to keep it as a yeah.
Here's a tip: submit it as both. That way, the selection panel can take a look and see. If you have two different ideas, people don't have to stick to just submitting one proposal. Find some moderation. Don't send us 10. Don't send us, 5 is a bit excessive. But if you have two ideas, don't hesitate at all to send both ideas. And you can even say, like, you can either put in your, it gets lost in the shuffle. If you try to say in your presentation description, this could be either this or this, submit it as both, because then it shows up in both places. So it's discussed in both sections of the selection process. Otherwise, it might get lost. Somebody might not flag, like, oh yeah, hey, I know we don't have any performances, and this is actually a LECMO or a performance, maybe, So a little just bit of behind the scenes of how the selection process works. Just submit both ideas. It doesn't cost anything. And it gives us the ability to curate based on what else is kind of falling into place, because the entire conference program is a puzzle. And sometimes we're just looking for that right piece that fits in. So very apropos for your work. But yeah, definitely performance other. And I think that it could be really, really cool to have some programs that utilize the water jet cutter. So I would say 100% that could be a LECMO as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. And for the presentation, it was very helpful.
Good luck. I hope it works out. All right. Any other questions, or should we go back to our Saturday? Of course. Yes. Okay. Okay. So we have a question in the chat. Would it be possible for a craftsperson to build a temporary traditional style kiln at the conference? For example, using, refractory bricks and gas to demonstrate historical or regional glassmaking techniques. Wow. That was not on my bingo card for questions today. The only people who are going to be able to answer that question are the Corning folks. So I would say it sounds fascinating. I know that Pilchuck has done sessions like that a few times where, these really neat traditional style kilns were built. Just submit it as trying to think of what would be the best format for this. Sorry, sound effects. Okay, it sounds amazing. I think it would probably lead to some healthy debate in the selection space of what the Corning folks are willing to have in their on their campus. There would definitely have to be a discussion. I would definitely, in your presentation proposal, outline the fact that you've done this before. Send a link with your qualifications to make sure that it's very, very clear that you have experience in this, understand the safety implications of doing it. If you're able to type, would you be doing this in, I don't feel like you would be doing this in one of the hot shops. You would maybe be doing this outside. Outside. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I would say send it in as a LECMO. I would say send it in as a LECMO. Could be fascinating. It could be something that is like, I mentioned the midday programming before. I don't know if you were on the call when we were talking about that, but it could be that people are able to come and it could be a participatory thing if that's what you're thinking of. I don't, sorry, I'm scanning here to see if you said for a craftsperson. So if it's just you, I mean, still people could come and watch you working. We could have like at certain times. It sounds really neat. I do wonder, given how liability and stuff works on Corning campus. It's very, I've worked in museums before. There's a lot more no than yes, unfortunately, when it comes to doing innovative stuff like this. But it can't hurt to at least start that conversation in the selection room. And if not this year, try again in a less institutional space year. Like that would have been so cool to see in Berlin, for example, at Berlin Glass, where there was like a lot of great outdoor space and there was a lot less regulation. I mean, very safe still, lots of safety, but like less, institutional guidelines. Sorry, I hope that's helpful. I say go for it. What a cool idea. That would be really neat to see. And feel free to just email us if you want to discuss or share some information in advance so that we can help you guide your proposal. Make sure it has the right kind of language that's not going to scare the Corning folks. You're so welcome. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Can't even see who's on this meeting. Hold on. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up and give everyone back to their Saturday plans. Thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck on your, you're welcome, Dory. Best of luck on your proposals. And again, if you have questions, please ask them, but clock is ticking. Send in those questions ASAP so that we can help. The team is excited for Corning 2026, and take care, everybody.